Hello everyone, Amanda here, thanks for joining me. So I'm going to be doing my Christmas journal and my kit's due out tomorrow. It's called a Victorian Yuletide. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm going to be using bits of it here, but the full reveal will be tomorrow. So I've decided I'm going to do what I call a hybrid journal. I'm not quite sure how it's going to fully develop, but I'm going to show you the process as we go. It's going to be, I think, we'll have to see how fat it gets, a ring bound journal. So what I'm starting with is 8 sheets of craft card, just A4 card. Just use what you've got so long as it's not too flimsy. Okay, I'd say no less than 200 GSM. Alright, so what we're going to do first of all is we're going to trim it down to 8 inches. Okay, and then we're going to score it at, get my scoreboard, we're going to score it at, I believe I scored mine at 6.5. Where's my, of course my scoring tool's disappeared, bear with me. I've been crafting so everything's all over, I do apologise. So I'm going to score it at 6.5 and I'm going to explain to you why we're doing 6.5. So the journal will probably end up 8 by about 6, so it's a slightly larger than your standard, you know, sew bound journal, but probably we're going to omit about the first ½ inch because it's going to be ring bound. We're probably going to miss out the first ½ inch on every page. So if we're matting anything, we're doing anything, we need to bear in mind to omit the first ½ inch. Okay, so just bear that in mind. So at your 6.5, you've just got that. So we're just going to fold them. Okay, so when it's in, we've done the holes for the ring binding, that will be a flat page. Okay, now as with the journal progresses, we may well cut some of these down to make into pockets, and we might do something else with them, but to start with we just want 8 of these. And what you want to do is really burnish that edge there so that it sits as flat as possible, because it's going to be ring bound and because we've got these flaps here on every page because we're using up the full sheet. This end of the journal is going to end up being fatter than that end, more than likely. We'll see how we go. There might be a way to space them. I'm not sure. We'll see how it develops, but that is my idea and I think it's going to be marvellous. It's going to be an interactive album journal. Stick with me, okay? Stick with me. So what we're going to do is we're going to get 2 of our pieces that we've done. One is the front and one is the back, and in the first instance we want the front bit plain because I've not decided if we're going to mat that and make that the cover or whether we're going to do a separate cover. So what I want to do is I want to leave the first page and this is going to be a flip. Okay, so we're going to work on the first page for now, okay, and see what we can come up with. So what I want to do is, so you've always got to bear in mind that ½ inch. We're going to, I mean, you can decorate and things, but we need to try and bear in mind to avoid that bit for now. What I will do is just mark with a ruler somewhere. I'm going to mark where the holes are going to go. Once you've done your first page, you can just line up the rest of the pages and punch the hole, you know, at the same time. So these sheets are 8 inches long. Okay, so they're 8. So if we go in at 2 inches, let me do it that way and then I can see 2 inches. So if we go in at 2 inches and 6 inches, okay, let me get a pencil actually. Do I have one to hand? Because it needs to be, you need to get it in the right position. Is this a pencil? I don't even know if it's a pencil or a crayon. Right, so 2 inches. Once you've got the prep work done, the rest will follow easy, and 6 inches. And then we're just going to go in about 1/4 inch to put our holes. Okay, so I've got my set square, which is so... can't do 1/4 inch that way on this silly ruler. Let me do it that way. There we go. Right, so 1/4 of an inch is just under 1 centimetre. I think it needs to be more than 1/4 of an inch. We're going to go in at 1/2 an inch. Okay, 1/2 an inch, which is well, just under 1.5 centimetres. So and then I'm going to go down to the other mark that I made, and we're going to mark at 1/2 an inch there as well. Okay, and that will give us an accurate point for our punching. Okay, and if you mark everything with pencil, you can always rub it out. It's not a problem. Then you go in with either your crocodile or a standard 1-hole punch. You don't have to have one of these. Okay, and punch your holes. I can't see. There it is. Because this light's shining so bright, I can't actually see. That's the small end. Come on, Amanda, get a grip. There we go. And get out. There we go. And then what I will do is I will go back and I will put the eyelets in there. Now, if you don't have anything to put eyelets in, you can do just the normal paper reinforcers like this. Okay, but because we're using cardstock, it'll be pretty sturdy. Or there are some in the kit. I've also shown you, I've got a video on how to make them yourself. Okay. Right, so let's get started with the first page. So I've got a little bit of an idea of what I want to do. I think here I'm going to make a pocket, and then in here we're going to have journaling. So like I say, it's going to be a hybrid journal with lots of journaling still, but it's also going to be a little bit like an album. But we'll see how we go. It's in my head and we'll get it out. So let me just pick a background paper. As I say, the kit's out tomorrow, so I don't know if I want to show you it all yet. So I'm going to go for one of the collage sheets because we're going to put a pocket in, so there's no point wasting our nicest paper with all the decorative elements on when it's going to get covered with a pocket. So let me find one that's just plain collage. Sorry, just bear with me, it's quite a big kit, so I'm going through. Where's the plain collage page? There is one that's just a plain collage. I think it's that one. Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to have the bows at the top. So I'm going to trim that down. Let me get my trimmer. Just move my page out of the way. So I'm just going to trim my white borders off first, and then we're going to do a little bit of measuring. Oh, somebody shouting outside, sorry about that. Set my dogs off. They've set the guard dogs off. Okay. Right. So now what I'm going to do is grab my pencil. So I grab my pencil, and I actually want like a bit of a border round. Like when you make albums, you've got a nice border round, because I may well sew round yet. I might not as well. Okay, so I'm marking there just a small gap, and there just a small gap, so I know where I want to cut. Then I don't need my ruler, and then I'll use my trimmer. Are you kidding me? The blade's just fallen out. If there's any companies out there that wants to donate a new trimmer, because this one's doing my head in. Right, so I'm going to and trim there. Okay, so that's going to be my layer. So I'm going to be using a vintage photo to ink everything because it is going to have a vintage feel. Okay, so I'll just gently ink that. So my last journal that I did, the Shabby Winter Blues, which is on my videos list if you want to have a look, was very shabby and lots of lace and very white and pretty. This one's going to be very vintage, so you know, tea dye and distress ink and all of that. Right, so now I'm going to glue that on. Let me grab my glue. And then we're going to make a pocket, and I'm going to show you some things to put in the pocket, and we're going to make a cute tag from scratch using, I've actually used my dies, layering dies, and I've got an idea. I've been watching Kathy Arter, who is my latest YouTube fad. I can't stop watching her, and some of the ideas that she has for just making things with what you've got really resonates with me. So I'm going to be replicating some of those and using some of those ideas with you. So that's that layered. Okay, so now I want to add a pocket. So I'm going to, I don't want cardstock because that's going to make it too bulky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a pattern paper that I want to use, and I'm going to layer it with book page. So let me just grab some book pages. Okay, so to save a little bit of time, I've picked the image that I want for the pocket and I've layered it with book page. So I'm going to make just a really simple pocket, but we're going to fill it with pretty things. We don't have to make things overcomplicated when we're making our journals. Beautiful. So I am also going to be using some items in this journal that are available absolutely free if you are in my Facebook group. There's quite a lot of things. There's the 12-week challenge going on. There's no reason that these won't go in because I designed them specifically knowing that I was doing a vintage theme Christmas kit, so they could go in. Yeah, everything is, you know, usable. So I'm just going to try and be gentle with my glue. It spurts out quite a lot, does this bottle. I need a thinner tip. I'm just going to very simply glue 3 sides, and we're going to make a pocket. So I've cut it so that it mats directly over the paper so that we've still got that border all the way around. Okay, and then what I do have somewhere on my desk, or I did have, have disappeared like everything else. I had some beautiful little thingamabobs that, here we are. One of my friends sent me. These have come from Sheila and she's made these. And they're absolutely lovely, and they're really soft and flexible as well. I might have a go at making some, and she's just used tiny little bits of lace and little bits of bling and little bits of pearls. So I think I'm going to use some of these in my journal. I quite like this one with the flower. I might, although I said I wasn't doing shabby and lace, I might just have to add that there, because I think it's really pretty. In fact, I'm doing it. Doing it. Okay, let me just cut it, and I can use that one on something else. Let me just trim that a little bit straighter. Okay, and we'll add that to there because I think that looks really pretty. So what I'm going to do, so that I don't stick my pocket shut, is grab some book page. I'm just going to tuck it in to just lift that pocket up from the background there. This is still not dry. This is the downside to trying to do tutorials on YouTube, is that your stuff isn't dry. Really, you'd leave that to dry before putting anything else on, but hey ho. Right, so I'll do a thin, the paper's too thick, it's going to lift, because that pocket's not dry yet, it's going to lift it, so we'll just have to try and YOLO it. So I want that big flower to the side there. Okay. I'm not quite sure what she's glued these onto, whether it's paper or whether it's like double-sided tape backing or what it is, I'm not sure. So you can just see the writing under there, and that still looks really pretty. Let me just put that in there to make sure there's no glue. So that's really nice already. Okay, so now we're going to fill the pocket. Okay, so like I say, it's just a quick one to really show you the base of it. I did cut some tags out. I'm just not good at this. I did cut some tags out and I can't find them. I've got my 8 pages, but I can't find my tags. One second, they're here somewhere. There they are. Slippery little suckers. So then you can add your tags. Now I know that I'm going to put something else in the back for journaling, so I'm only going to pick one. I'm going to go for this one because it's quite light and airy. Okay, and then when I finish filming, I will probably go back and I will sew around this one with a fancy stitch. I'm just going to ink it. In fact, there's no probably, I definitely will, I think. Okay, so that's one tagging already done. Alright, easy. So, we don't want just the easy life, so we're going to make our own tag as well. And so I'll do that with you, and then I shall be back tomorrow with the kit reveal and also another tutorial, and I'll just keep doing them until we're done. I need some more cardstock. I don't have any on my table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of my pages and I'll make another page. So we're going to make a tag. In fact, no, I'm just going to go and get some more card. Right, so I'm going to make a tag topper out of this. This measures approximately, what is it, 3 3¼ so I'm going to cut the width of my card to 3¼ let me just double check that, because quite often I think I've measured it right and I actually haven't. I'm going to actually cut it to 3 3/8 I think. 3 3/8, just under 3¼ okay. Right, and then I want to see how long my pocket is, plus I'm going to have that on the top. Okay, half of that on the top, about there, so I'm aiming for about there. There's my precise measurement, so let me just rip it. Alright, you can always cut some off the bottom if it ends up being too long. So this is about, we'll just do it to 5 inches and then it saves messing about. Okay, so then what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to fold it in half. Okay, very simple. Fold it in half and then I'm going to cut it in half on my trimmer so that it's nice and straight. Okay, so you're getting 2, so I can make 2 tags out of that. And then I've cut smaller, so just use your layering dies. Cut a smaller one, I'm going to do the same. I'm just going to fold that in half and then trim it. These make great page tabs as well. You can just do them like that and then cut them in half and then just glue them on either side of your page. Go get your nesting dies out. It's amazing what you can do with them, and we all buy them and we just don't use them. Well, I don't know about you. Right, so now I want some paper to layer on here. So this measures 3 3/8, doesn't it, by 5. So I've got one of my coffee stained papers because I just want this to be a journaling tag, not with images, it's for writing on. So if you're a member of my group, you will, I don't know if I gave you this one today, no I don't think I did, but I've given coffee dyed sheets as freebies. I've also got a pretty patterned coffee dyed kit on my Ko-fi. So 3 3/8, so if I just do it just under, I want about 1/4 inch border, so if I do it just under 3, let's have a look. That's not bad. And then that is 5, so if I do it 4 3/4, yeah. Okay, we're getting there. So just ink this up. So yeah, there's some coffee dyed papers in my group free, and some on my Ko-fi, because at the moment with the cost of living, who's got the money to buy baking papers in the oven? You know, we haven't got time, and it's winter in England, so there's going to be no doing it outside. So it's actually cheaper to just print them. I sat today, only took quicker as well, only took me about 15 minutes, and I printed loads. And I did them double-sided, so I printed them, turned them over and printed them on the other side, so they just look like coffee dyed. You're just not getting the same texture. But if you do want texture, you can just spray them with a little bit of, tiny bit of water to make the fibres swell up, and then dry them. It's up to you. Right, so we're just going to ink everything. We'll ink the front, but on the back we're not going to ink that line. We're only going to ink round the edge. And then we're going to ink this. I've already got my sentiment ready, and I've fussy cut it out, and I've added it onto some gold mirror board. But you could just layer it on some more craft card. It's up to you. Right, so this now wants to go layering on here. Does it? Does it though? Wait a minute, because I need to attach this to here first and see where it's going to go, because it needs gluing on there, and then I'm going to put that over the top of it. Right, so where's the, there we go. So this is my front side, so I need some glue there. I'm going to attach it to my tag shape and try and get it straight. Let's have a look. Never seen straight that. Okay. And then I'm going to put that on, and then am I putting the red one over the top, or am I layering that over it? Can't decide. Yeah, I'm going to put this on first. My glue dried. Put this on first, layer that on. I hope my messy red hair's not in the shot. Okay. Then my tea-dyed paper. If you've got one of the, I don't know why I call it an ATC gun, an ATG gun, a tape gun, you can use that for stuff like this. I just don't like it if you're making pockets and things like that. But for matting and layering, if you've got tape, you can use tape. It's fine. Move it down a bit, down a bit, down a bit. There we go. Okay. I'm not bothered about seeing the join. If you're bothered about seeing the join, then put some ribbon or something underneath before you layer up. I'm not too fussed, to be honest. I'm not bothered. Okay, so that's there. And then I'm going to put my sentiment there. Okay, so this is part of the new kit. It's out tomorrow. I mean, you could, an idea for that is to just glue the top of the sentiment and leave the bottom unglued. Then you could tuck things under it if you wanted. That's a nice idea. I'd stick that on there, couldn't I? But I've fussy cut these flowers now, and it took me a while because I'm tired and my eyes are skew with, so we're having it. I like fussy cutting. I find it quite therapeutic. So I'm going to put some glue on here, but I'm going to try not to be heavy-handed. Hope I'm in shot. And is it that way? I can't remember which way around these go now. Or is it that way? Oh, I can't remember. I literally can't remember. Oh, I'm not sure. I'm going with that one. I don't suppose it matters. Okay, so when I fussy cut these out, I did just cut off some of the fussy tiny little bits of leaves. I'm not cutting around them. It still looks good. Right, so you can see all of that, comfort and joy. What else we're going to put on? I quite fancied a butterfly, even though I did think that butterflies weren't really Christmassy. I still don't, but I've cut it out, so I'm using it. Okay, and we'll put that up there. And we've got ourselves a lovely little journaling card. What I may well do is back the back side of it with some more of this, but you get the general gist. So we've got our own custom made little tag there. Alright, and it will go in our pocket of our first page of our ring bound journal, like so. So you've got a nice collection of colours going on. So don't forget, the kit's out tomorrow. Utilise the freebies in the group for the 12 weeks of Christmas and mix and match them. So I hope that you'll stay to the end. If you have, you're a trooper. And I might add something there yet, I don't know. And I'll be back again tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.